Are you having trouble finding time to write? It could be because you're making one or more of these 5 time management mistakes. If you're not making a point to keep a time diary, or if you haven't done this recently, you're probably spending a lot of time doing things that you don't even realize are sapping up your hours. Things like social media. Now, we all know we probably spend too much time on social media, but just how much time? Are you keeping track of it? How about other things like watching TV or simply doing busy work about the house that maybe doesn't matter as much as your writing does? I took 2 weeks to keep track of where all my time was going, and I created a chart that had all the time slots down the left and then what I was doing across the top and how much time I was spending doing all those things. So like from 9 to 10, what was I doing? From 10 to 11, what was I doing? I created my own little chart in Word. You can use Excel or anything that might work for you. And then really keep track for a good 2 weeks to see how much time are you spending working, eating, commuting, spending time with friends and family, going down a rabbit hole on the internet. And then how much time you actually spending writing. Most of us in our lives have what I like to call time thieves. We have a few minutes and we end up spending them doing something that doesn't contribute to our lives at all, certainly not to our word count of our stories. So if you keep this diary for a couple of weeks, it can really be an eye-opener as to what your time thieves are. And then you actually know where your time is going. This is a mistake I made early on. I have to be inspired and I have to feel awake and alert and energized and ready to write on this story, because if I don't have all those perfect things going on, then I'm probably going to write crap. We're worried that if we just sit down when we have 20 minutes and just write whatever comes to us, that it's going to be awful and not worthwhile. If you have never tried sitting down when you have just 10 minutes and writing, you just go for it. You write whatever comes to you. I don't care if you think it's the worst thing that you've ever produced. Give it a try, because I bet you're going to be surprised. The next day you're going to go back and you're going to say, that's not too bad. I can work with that. When you get something down on your file or on your paper that contributes to your story, you are moving yourself forward. So don't imagine that you need half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour to get something done on your story. You absolutely do not. If you have 15 minutes, even if you only have 10, you can get at least 100 words done in that time, and I bet more. Don't make that mistake of thinking you have to wait until you have this big window. Use your little windows to get at least something done. If you think, I'll get to writing sometime today, or sometime tonight, or sometime this weekend, it's probably not going to happen. I know anytime that I've done this, maybe it happens 50% of the time if I'm lucky. I do much better if I actually schedule it. If I let myself know the day before, okay, tomorrow I'm writing after dinner, or tomorrow I'm writing before breakfast, or on Thursdays I'm going to write at noon when I have more time at lunch. Whatever may be your situation, you are much more likely to get your writing done and to get the time for writing if you schedule it. Most of the things that are important to us, we schedule on the calendar, right? So your writing should be one of those. If you're just imagining when you're going to get to it, it's probably not going to happen, and you're making a huge time management mistake. The time is there for writing. You've got it written down in your calendar. You have your computer ready to go, and you think, I really want to write, but I've got to do this other thing. Beware. If you are doing this, it means one thing, and that is that you are afraid. You are afraid of producing writing that you will not be proud of. Remember, you can always fix it once it's down on the paper. So if you have time scheduled to write, when it comes that time to write, write! Unless there's a hurricane on its way, or a tornado barreling down your street, or something like that that is really at the elevation of an emergency that you must attend to. If you had a doctor's appointment, you wouldn't just decide not to go most of the time, right? I hope. So if you've got writing written down, follow through and actually write during that time. our lives all change. Suddenly we find that the things that we have to rush and go do are at night instead of in the morning. Or maybe you have an illness in the family and suddenly your whole schedule is turned upside down, and when you were able to write before, well, it's not so easy to write at that time now. It really helps if you frequently revisit your writing schedule. I do this all the time because there's always something changing or going on that means that I have to write at a different time than I've been writing for the past month or two, or even sometimes for the past couple of weeks. Oh, gotta change again. You want to be flexible. Keep writing as one of your priorities, and if you need to, sit down on a weekend and say, okay, this time isn't working anymore, so what other time might work? There's always a time that might work, and remember, it doesn't have to be half an hour. It can be 15 minutes. The art of being a productive writer is being able to go along with those changes in your life and still keep writing as a priority. And that's it, my 5 time management mistakes for today. I'm hoping that you're doing what you need to in your writing nook to feel your most creative self and taking the steps you need to fit your writing in. Talk to you next time.